Boys, just a quick screencast just to go over the off-season training plans. Very similar to what we did in COVID. And I'll just go over just a few bits. We've just done a bit of a goal sheet here. As you know, when we had our player reviews, just said we're going to send out a couple of goals, which we're going to go out this evening. But the main thing really is just maintain a training base and aerobic base. Maintain some muscle size and degree of maximal strength. I'm not asking you to come back in and deadlift 250 on day one, but at least there's a minimal drop off, and you've done some type of strength training. And when I say strength training, you've done something that's heavy within sort of 5 to 8 reps, relatively regular, that being upper and lower body. You haven't just gone and cracked on and done circuits with light weights and stuff like that. Really, what we want to do in this time as well, and with the best will in the world, because I know a lot of the lads have been coming in most days over the last 2 weeks to Padgate, is just decrease any chance of overtraining. So what we want to do is try and do the two that we've just outlined above without going above and beyond, meaning doing too much and you come back in on day one absolutely flying. You've trained for 7 or 8 weeks, then you've got 8 weeks to get through a pre-season, and then you've got an 8-month season to do as well. So obviously it's a marathon, not a sprint, but we still want to make sure that we're in a trainable state of coming back in on day one. This is one as well, is decrease any unnecessary stress on shoulders, hip, knees and hips. And again, when we come back in pre-season, everybody knows what the drill is. The training volume is going to be high. We're going to cover a lot of boxes when we come in, as regards contact, sprinting, conditioning, skills. Obviously that takes a stress on all your joints and your major joints. So what we want to try and do is sort of train in this period now, would just decrease any chance where we're overstressing any of those big joints. And then this has been the big one. It's probably the one thing that stood out to me and stood out to all the medical staff when we came back in. We picked up 3 or 4 tendinopathies, Achilles tendinopathies, when we came back in. Now that's indicative of people who've done a lot of long running, and we've chucked you straight back into the deep end a little bit. So just to give you a bit of sports science performance context, we put you back in at week 3 of our pre-season, and week 3 of pre-season is roughly about 20 kilometres, and I think we covered about 19. Some people are up at 21, 22. Some were outside backs. And what we started to see the week after, probably in the 10 days, we started to pick up a bit of tendinopathies. Now, if you don't do a degree of high-speed running in that time, you will be susceptible to picking up those type of strains and those type of injuries. And again, although they're not massively horrific, going to keep you out for a long, extended period of times, they're just going to debilitate you in training for a period of time until they settle down, and are going to require a lot of treatments that need to be getting done. So if you can do a bit of high speed running, and I'll go over a couple of ways that you can go about going over structuring your training over this next 5.5, 6 weeks. That'll stand you in really good stead for when we come back in on week 1. On week 1 we won't do 20k, we'd probably around the 15, 16, 17 kilometre mark, with a degree of high speed running, but nowhere close to what we'll do moving forward. But as I discussed with a few people, that the high speed tempo running that we did as we came back in, that'll be a feature of the stuff that we put in during the pre-season period. So I've got a couple of examples here, and again, this is what I'm conscious of, is not just giving you a structured program that you just crack on and do. That because you've got 8 weeks of pre-season, you've got 9 weeks or 8 months of season where you're going to be on a structured program. So I want you to have a little bit of autonomy over your program and how you go about doing it, and to be honest, go away and enjoy what training that you do over this time. Whilst obviously having in mind that you've got to come back in a prepared state to come in and train and do your pre-season. This is one way. This is a double loading week. So basically you've got your 2 big running days here. On a Tuesday and a Thursday. You've got an off-feet conditioning session here. Just going back to the theme of not overtraining, my thoughts on that is, if you're going to train every day, you're going to do something every day, or try and do an hour and a half, 2 hours worth of training every day, and then go around having your weekend off, which is probably not a bad way of structuring it. You probably just want to do that one thing on that day. So if you've got strength, you just do that strength session on the day. If you've got running, you just do the running, and so on and so on. I'm not saying that you have to do it that way. I'm just saying that is an option for you to do. And what that does, it'll keep you a little bit fresher going into each one of them, rather than having that double stress to recover from. You've got your upper body session, you've got a lower body conditioning session that you've done. Obviously, we'll do that in pre-season because we have to cram a lot in. But at this stage now, you just want to get the best out of your training as you can. And if you can get the best out and train at a really high intensity during this period on each session that you do, the accumulative effect of that will build up and you still maintain your fitness. And what I mean, a good example of that is, say when you get to week 3 or week 4, your strength will probably drop off because we've chucked a lot of strength at you, and you won't probably realise the gains of that strength for another 2 weeks. Usually that's the Christmas period where you have a bit of time off, you let your body recover, you let your body adapt, and then you come back and everybody lifts a lot heavier than what they were doing on the last testing day. So you're running. I'll just go back into, there'll be another one of these. I've got 2 templates to come, but you might want to structure your running where you do all like your faster stuff earlier in the week, and then your harder running and your longer running later in the week. I've kept these Hammy Health. Basically, what I've just amended this template from the Corona return one that we did in March. But your Hammy Healths are still on there, and I think that's still important just for the reasons I talked about with the high speed running. So you might want to do your fast run on a Tuesday or a Monday, do your strength sessions split in between there, and then your longer run towards the back end of the week. And again, if you feel like you need an off-heat conditioning, maybe you want to do it on a Saturday morning. If you want to have the weekend off, you can stick it on the back of your uppers day, perhaps. I'll just scroll down to the triple loading week. If you're somebody who's probably knows they're going to be on the heavier side, you probably want to do 3 week running sessions, maybe 2 strength sessions. Some of you bigger lads, we sort of discussed about maybe improving your fitness. Just maybe do 3. So again, you do a run, strength there, a run, a strength there, and a run, a strength there. Again, that's one way of setting it up. I was just thinking as I was going through, I think this is probably a better way of doing it if you want to do that triple loading week. Especially if you're older boys, you're in your late 20s, coming in your 30s, is do it day in, day off, and get your work done on that day and have a day off for recovery and rest from it. The thought process on your conditioning, on your running these days, would be doing a fast day, a hard day, which would mean doing your 200s, your 150s, figure of 8 type runs on your second day in. And then on your third day, that'd maybe be your run long day. So you'd have a run fast, run hard, run long day. That's maybe where you might do, because I know a lot of you boys in lockdown were doing 5Ks for time. That'd be the day that you do your 5K run, and then maybe do some upper body weights, have a pump up on that day or something, and then you've got your weekend to yourself. If you feel like you need to do an off-heat conditioning session, or the gyms are running a circuit, or Bubs is in on a daytime doing a Lions Den type session, and you feel like you want to jump in on that, obviously feel free. It's not going to load you as much as your running days have as well. All your running times and distances, I've just kept these as they are because I get more or less everybody matched the Bronco test when we came back, and these are what these are based on. For your longer, harder runs, you've got your set distance target speed. So if you're going to do a 400, if you use the track at Padgate, in fact we've already got the timings and set up for that one there. So these are the guidance, how many laps you should be getting your times in, and then we've got your set distance target speed. So if you're doing, obviously these are in seconds, you just convert them to minutes. But you've got 400s, for example, Steph should be getting 1 minute 12. And so on. Those all go up to about 1,000 metres, and they're a target distance that you should be doing. Again, for you boys who've been doing a 5K, and Tommy does a 10K track, I think it is, he was telling us, and he's got a set time for that one. Again, feel free. But again, just to get it across that, you should be doing a little bit of high speed running as well. Maybe that's a hill session as well that I try to push you down towards that area. Then running sessions are exactly the same. We've done it. There's a shitload of drills that we've done over the last 2 years, and I'm sure that you've had your own as well. 100 metre turns, 150s, figure of 8, these type runs, set distance runs. It's just probably going to be the easiest ones if you know that you've got a track, and obviously you've got your running times that you should be targeting there as well. Your longer shuttle runs that we do, and then your tempos that we've already discussed on the other template as well. Strength wise, I've put these tabs on here. So what we've got is I've got 6 hypertrophy sessions, 6 uppers. So we've got 3 hypertrophy, 3 strength based, 3 lowers hypertrophy, and 3 strength based lowers. And there's like a power one towards the back end of that lowers. As you can see here, what we're trying to get across, instead of going for load as such, we're going for more like time under tension. So 3 seconds under tension here. These dumbbell benches is where you basically do 1.5 reps, never quite full locking out. So again, we're just trying to take that stress off your shoulders more than anything. A lot of these are then guided towards doing a lot of your rear delt fly, upper back type work that's going to protect your shoulders when we come back in and just maintain that base, which will be important. When you do strength work, guided more toward your floor presses, your narrow grip foam roll presses, where you're not going through full range. And again, just looking after your shoulders. Same principle with your rear delt flies and your rows after each session. Lowers. So what we've got here, when you're doing your hypertrophy sessions, front squat ideally, if you can get in that front squat position. I know a lot of you younger boys, you did the front squat as part of your lifting earlier last season. And again, going for that tension more than anything. Deadlift from blocks, so we're not lifting completely from the floor, just to protect your lower back a little bit. And then all the lower strength that we do is trap bar deadlift. Again, this one probably wants to be elevated as best as you can, so you're not lifting completely from the floor. Box squats, so we're not going through full range of motion with a load on your back. And hand assisted split squats, exactly the same. So you're doing a single leg squat basically, and you're holding onto the sides, and again go for a bit more tension than anything. Just to protect your hips and knees. You just check the loading on these as well. You should probably between 5 and 8. So if you start on this one, so you probably want to get 8 reps, 6, and then work to a 5, and then just keep cascading as you go through the system. Yeah, and that's about it really. Pretty straightforward. There's nothing, like I said, there's nothing really groundbreaking in there. I'm just going to I'll send out your targets individually of where I want your skinnies when you come back in, and where you want your Bronco test. They're going to be two big ones. If you need anything bespoke in the meantime for your training, if you've got a gym to go to, if it's got a bit of equipment that you want to use, or you've got ideas on where you want to send your training, again, get in contact with me and I'll put something bespoke towards you. And yeah, all good. See you later.